Hey, what's up, everybody? Sean Chalice, 10X Real Estate Marketing and Coaching. Just want to reach out to you today. We were talking to a customer that we helped over the weekend, and we really saw something that really was a little shifty. And, I don't know if you would call it unethical. I just call it unprofessional. But I think it's important for buyers out there to know about it. And it's really what's happening is there's so many people that are trying to make offers on properties. Like been saying, is that when we list a property for sale, we usually have 8, 10, 15 people that are interested in that property, and we'll get 2 or 3 offers. So buyers have actually got a condition to figure out that if they don't get their offer in right away, and if they don't put a strong offer in, they're just not even going to get a look at. So there's some agents out there and some agencies that are traditionally making practices of using what's called a buyer agency agreement. And traditionally, a buyer agency agreement is basically like a listing agreement in reverse. It's when you're actually hiring an agent specifically, one particular agent, and specifically, and you're saying, hey, whether you find me a house or I find a house on my own, I'm willing to pay you a commission because I feel as though you're going to do the right thing for me and you're going to get out there and bust your hump and try to find the perfect house for me. In reality, that may not be your best interest in a market like this, because in a market like this, many times the agents that are controlling the inventory are the agents that are the agents you want to work with. And in some cases, those properties are being held as an exclusive. And if your agent goes to go over there and represent you, in many cases, they may not get access to it until it goes to a multiple offer situation, which inherently is going to cost you more money. So how did this pan out, and what did this look like, and why am I saying be careful you don't get taken hostage? So when you do a contract in the state of New Jersey, at least, we actually make contracts. We create a contract for the buyer in order to make the offer. And we actually do the actual contract as the realtor. And when you get that information, it used to be I would go sit with you and I'll go through each document with you and you would sign it. Now we're actually using electronic signing services, which I'm sure most people are aware of. And when the customer gets it, it's a packet of, let's say, 30 documents that are actually saying, yes, I want to make an offer on this house. I want to make an offer. And one of those documents is actually going to be in there. And it's not always in there, but this is what we saw. And I'm not pointing out fingers. I'm just saying that, you know what, I thought this was a little bit of an unethical practice. They actually had buried in the contract a buyer agency agreement that was actually set out for 6 months. So that agreement, that actually, it's a 1-page document that says, from this date to this date, you're my hostage. And if you find a house, or I find you a house, or somebody else finds you a house, I still get paid. And the funny thing is, when the buyer questioned it, because on this actual contract, the dates on the actual agreement for the buyer agency were different than the dates in the contract. They happened to be post-dated. And she said, hey, what is this? I didn't have to sign this before. And the agent said, well, we need that in order to present your offer. So the buyer thought, my God, I have to get a house for my family. I need to go sign this then. And she kind of went against her better judgment and against her gut, and actually signed the document because she wanted to make sure she got an offer presented. In the real estate business, you have one responsibility. It's called your fiduciary obligation, which means that we are a fiduciary. We're the person that's going to communicate between you and the buyer or the seller. And that person has a responsibility to have a license that says, I'm not going to mislead you. I'm not going to do something that's unethical, or I'm not going to do anything that's going to hurt you. And what's funny is that when we question that document, the other agent said, oh, no, that's just in case I show you something. Well, it just turns out that this particular buyer contacted us before the agent even knew this property was on the market. And we said, hey, she said, hey, I'm working with an agent. She said, oh, all right. I said, if you're working with an agent, you can come on Sunday when we have the open house. She said, okay, great. So she called her agent, and her agent said, well, I'm going to be doing an open house from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock. I'm not going to be able to make it. But you can go there and give them my name. And my agents that work with me on my team are trained that if you come in our open house and you say, I'm working with somebody, we go back to the front door to see if they came with you. Because if they're your agent and they're showing you homes, you shouldn't be doing all the legwork. The agent should be with you, not down at their beach house or something. So lo and behold, turns out the agent was not with her. And matter of fact, the buyer was very upset that over the past 6 months, she's been trying to buy a home, and she's doing all the legwork. And she said, and I said, well, that's not a problem here. We're going to help you. We'll show you the property. And if you like, you can actually present it as a dual disclosed agent. My buyer agent will represent you, and we'll represent the seller. And she said, okay, that sounds great. And she said, but I think I did sign something. And when I got the document and I read through it and I said, were you aware that you even signed this? She goes, no. She goes, I was told that I had to sign that in order to make my offer on the last property that we lost out on. And I said, were you aware that you're still obligated to her for another 5.5 months? If you find anything? She's like, no, I wasn't aware of that. And I said, well, there's a clause down here that says, if you notify her within 3 days, you can cancel this for any reason. That's what you're going to do, right? She said, absolutely. But what's interesting is, the buyer, once I explained it to her, she knew exactly what the girl was doing. I shouldn't say girl, the agent. I said, really what they were doing was they were holding her hostage for all intents and purposes, because they feel as though once they do that, and then if you go find something on your own, they can come back and say, hey, we introduced that property to you. Because they had an automatic email system setting up and sending them an email to notify them that that property was in the market. So when you start looking at it from that perspective, it really, one, it's misleading. Number two, when we question the agent said, oh, that's just on our properties. And the reality is it's not. It's actually on any property that they send you or introduce you to, which means that it could be as simple as taking somebody over there, telling them about the property. But if they're not involved in it, then they shouldn't get compensated. And what's the funny thing is, in this case, the buyer was actually the buyer was actually doing all the homework, and the agent was hoping to go to their beach house, hang out, and get paid. And lo and behold, we questioned it, but we did think it was important that that other people out there are not caught up in that little agreement. So when you're actually presenting an offer, and if you're presenting an offer and it's in a written offer, it's in a contract form, you want to read through it. And if you see something in there that says buyer agency agreement, you have to ask them specifically and say, are you representing me, and for how long, and for what is it for? Is it for just this property, or is it for anything? My suggestion is I wouldn't sign it at all. If they made it mandatory, you can actually edit that document and make an addendum to it that says only for this particular property over at 123 Jones Street. So I hope that helps you. If you are looking to find out more about getting your home sold or finding out how to buy a home in this crazy market, you want to come to a professional. We're the only company at 10X Real Estate Marketing and Coaching. We are the only company in the world that's actually coaching the consumer directly. There's plenty of real estate agents out there that are coached or are coaching realtors. We're not coaching realtors. We're actually coaching the consumer where it matters the most, to put thousands of dollars back in your pocket. If you want to find out how we can do that, go check out our webinar. It's over at 10xrem.com. The number 10xrem.com. Check it out. I'll put it in the link and I'll put it in the comments. Look to see on the other side. If you got any comments, or if you had an experience like this and you're not sure what to do, just DM me or chat me, and I'll look forward to seeing you on the other side. Sean Chalice, 10X Real Estate Marketing and Coaching. We're here for you. The only company of its kind in the world where we're going to actually help you to sell your house, or do it with you, or do it for you. Whatever you want us to do, we're going to help you. Look forward to seeing you on the other side. Thanks.